I don't think I've been this nervous over an auction before.
Right. There, the Incredible Hulk this time then, bids with me here then at £180.
I'm the highest bidder. Stay, oh shit, 200, shit. Stay at 200. Stay at 200. Stay at 200. Or 240, shit. If you're like me and you collect a wide variety of different vintage toy lines, I'm sure you can relate to that feeling of shifting priorities, where maybe for a month or two you're totally invested in Kenner Star Wars and then something will trigger your brain to shift towards G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, or then maybe the next month you're chasing Mego superheroes. Now, what I've found over the last 9 years or so on YouTube is that my shifting priorities are very much dictated by future video projects where I need to acquire certain toys for videos that I want to do for the channel. Yet other times that switch in focus can be triggered by the acquisition of a toy that you weren't particularly looking for at the time, but when you came across it, you just had to grab it. And that happened to me with my recent acquisition of this beautiful boxed Krona Toys Incredible Hulk play costume. I stumbled across this on eBay at a bargain price that included free shipping, so I couldn't say no to it. I made the purchase, and then when it turned up, I was immediately back on the vintage Incredible Hulk toy train. So now I'm inspired to complete a determined search for the elusive, incredible Palitoy Hulk. Hey toy fans, my name is Tony and welcome back to the Analog Toys YouTube channel. My absolute favourite superhero in childhood was the Incredible Hulk, thanks in no small part to my absolute love of the Incredible Hulk TV show, which was playing in reruns when I was growing up in the United Kingdom in the early 1980s. And that interest in the Incredible Hulk has carried over into my toy collecting habits in adulthood. For example, I have quite an extensive collection of Mego's World's Greatest Superheroes, but I'm usually content owning just one of each character, whereas I have a real focus on the Incredible Hulk. In my collection, I have the 8-inch Mego Incredible Hulk, loose, boxed and carded. I also have a really mint example of the 12-inch Incredible Hulk in the original box, alongside many other vintage Incredible Hulk toys and collectibles that aren't necessarily made by Mego. While I might not be scouring the internet on a daily basis looking for vintage Incredible Hulk toys, when I find an item like this, those priorities shift and I'm back on the Incredible Hulk collecting train. There's just something about that classic style Incredible Hulk packaging art from that era of the late 70s, early 80s. I grew up around it and I have these incredible feelings of nostalgia toward it. And something I particularly like about this piece is you can see there just below the 1980 copyright logo that there is an original price sticker of $2, and that is a Big W price sticker. And Big W is an Australian discount department store, kind of like Kmart, so I just love the fact that this has a uniquely Australian aspect to the box.
Your friend wouldn't take a shoe about this size, would he, Doctor?
What's that?
Now, the Hulk play costume aside, there are two vintage Incredible Hulk toys that I've always wanted to add to my collection. In particular, I want them in original Palitoy packaging. Because as I mentioned, I grew up in the late 70s and early 80s in the United Kingdom, and Palitoy was the biggest and best toy company around in those days. So while I do have the Mego 8-inch Incredible Hulk loose, boxed and carded, what I don't have is a carded Palitoy Hulk. And when this toy was released in the UK, the Palitoy company didn't simply slap their logo onto the American card back. They completely changed the card art, which I think looks much more dynamic. Now currently there are two examples of the Palitoy Hulk available on eBay. Unfortunately, one of them has a broken leg where the leg's fallen down inside the card back. That's quite common with vintage Mego figures, but I would very much like to acquire a figure that hasn't fallen apart inside the bubble. So the other really nice example is unfortunately being sold by a seller that I have some history with, and I do not want to make another purchase from this particular individual. So currently for me, there are no options available that I can find anyway of getting a nice carded Palitoy 8-inch Incredible Hulk.
I wonder where that thing is.
However, my ultimate vintage Incredible Hulk toy grail would be the die-cast metal Incredible Hulk sold in the Palitoy packaging. This particular Hulk comes from a range of die-cast metal action figures that were first introduced by the Mego Corporation in 1979. And the original wave consisted of 4 characters. You had Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, and the Incredible Hulk. Although the original lineup was supposed to consist of a 5th figure, which was going to be Captain America. And reliable sources have informed me that this toy was fully designed and sculpted, a prototype was made, but unfortunately Captain America never made it into production in the late 1970s. Currently, I only have one of these die-cast metal superhero figures in my collection, and it's actually my absolute favourite vintage Superman toy piece. And I have him complete in the original box, and you can see in the bottom right corner there, the small blue Mego logo. Yet as much as I really enjoy that beautiful boxed Superman piece, it doesn't get my juices flowing quite in the same way as a boxed Palitoy version of the Hulk figure. And I recently learned that a very nice example has come up for auction at Vectis in the UK. Now Vectis is a pop culture auction house that really specialises in toys and model railways, and I would very much call it the UK equivalent of Hakes Americana. Now I am very, very tempted to bid on this lot because this for me would be the crown jewel of my vintage Incredible Hulk toy collection if I was able to acquire it. So after seeing the boxed Palitoy Hulk on the Vectis website, I started to do a little bit of research and see if any others were available on the internet or if any had sold recently. And while I couldn't find any currently for sale, I did find one on eBay that had sold in the last few months. And I was very much taken aback by the price that this thing sold for. It went for £540 which is the equivalent of over $1,100, and I didn't realise that they were quite worth that much. On the Vectis website, the bidding estimate for this boxed Palitoy die-cast Hulk is £60 to £80, but I think that is an extremely conservative estimate. A belief that is reinforced by the fact that the current bid is already sitting at £110, which is already 30 quid above the higher end of the estimate. But I'm not certain that this piece will reach the same kind of high price as the one that was recently sold on eBay, for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think the example that sold on eBay is a slightly better condition box. Now, there are no creases or dents or anything to the box available on the Vectis website, but there does seem to be a little bit of fading to the colours. And as I continued researching, I realised that these two boxes are not exactly the same. The one that sold on eBay has artwork on the back that features the Incredible Hulk, whereas the example currently being offered by Vectis has an image of Spider-Man on the back. And this makes a lot more sense to me because you would use the back of this packaging as a cross-sell to promote the other items in the line. So if you've literally just purchased the Incredible Hulk, you would think the company would want a different superhero on the back to try and encourage children to go out and ask their parents to buy them the different character. So I really prefer the example on the Vectis website that has Spider-Man on the back, because the more superheroes you can add on to the packaging, I think just makes the piece just that little bit more appealing. For example, my boxed Mego die-cast Superman has a cross-sell image of Batman on the back, and that makes a lot more sense to me than having another image of Superman on the reverse side of the packaging. Now this Vectis auction goes live within 2 days of the time that I am recording this video. However, I'm not going to post this video to YouTube immediately. First of all, because I don't want to send up the green Hulk flare and have all of these other Incredible Hulk toy collectors bidding against me. But it's also because I want to let you guys know whether I win the auction or not. So I'm going to log into my Vectis account right now and place a bid of £250. And based on today's currency exchange rate, that is approximately 516 Australian dollars. But it's important to remember when you're bidding at an auction house like Vectis or Hakes, there are always additional fees that get applied. And in the case of Vectis, those additional fees are 22.5% plus a VAT sales tax. That would take the cost of my bid up to $632. And I still yet haven't factored in international shipping. But if I do win the auction at this price, I am going to be absolutely over the moon to be able to add this Holy Grail Incredible Hulk item to my vintage toy collection. So I'm going to pause the recording right there and let's check back in a few days' time to see how we got on. Alright, it is the 12th of August and it is the day of the Vectis auction. And when I went to place my bid the other day of £250, what I didn't realise is that once the lots go over £200, the bid increments are at £20 each. So I've actually placed a bid of £260 and currently it's sitting at 180. So fingers crossed I'm in with a chance to win this one. We've got a couple more lots to go before we get there. I've got my laptop here all ready to go. I've been watching the auction live for the last hour or so. Now I really want to secure this piece, so much so that I may possibly stretch to £280, but you just never know. Like, I've seen some lots go quite cheaply, so I may just win it at the 180 that it's currently sitting at. Who knows? But let's stay tuned and find out. And come on, Vectis, don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry. All right, the lot we're chasing for the incredible Palitoy Hulk is lot number 86. And we're currently up to lot number 82. Let's take a look at the auction for lot number 83. This is a lot of Kenner aliens from mid-90s, I want to say. They had an estimate on this from 60 to 80 pounds. It's currently at 180 pounds, which is the same price that my Palitoy Hulk is at. And I hope that this doesn't happen. This has just gone up to 200.
Here on Vectis Live, I'll sell at 220. £220.
£220. That's not a bad price for that massive lot of Kenner aliens. Lot number 85. We're next up for the Palitoy Incredible Hulk. I don't think I've ever been this nervous over an auction before.
86 then, the Incredible Hulk this time then, bids with me here then at £180.
I'm the highest bidder. Stay, oh shit, 200, shit. Stay at 200. Stay at 200. Stay at 200. Or 240, shit. It's with me at 2. That means if they bid, shit, I'm gonna have to go up to 300. I'm going 300.
300, Vectis Live, and again they're at 300.
Oh shit, I'm going £300. There's a telephone bidder bidding against me.
Further now than no more bids. Here on Vectis Live.
Yes! That was a lot more than what I wanted to spend, but that for me is a vintage toy holy grail. It's a lot cheaper than that one that sold on eBay, and as I said, I prefer the box that's got the Spider-Man on the back. So thanks for coming on this journey with me. Thanks for joining me on this search for the elusive, incredible Palitoy Hulk. I'm absolutely rapt to have won this auction and secured this incredible piece for my display. I don't know when it's going to arrive, but whenever it does, I'll do an exclusive unboxing of the toy for Patreon and Patreon only, because you guys rock. That was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.
All right, Dr. Banner. But I don't give up easily.
A peaceful day in the honeycomb hideout is suddenly interrupted by...
The Hulk!
A big Hulk want big cereal!
Honeycomb, you better come through. Brace yourself, Hulk. Honeycomb's big.
It's got a big bite that tastes right.
Big enough for a Hulk?
Just try it.
Whose honeycomb cereal big and part of balanced breakfast? Hulk, go!
Don't forget your honeycomb.
Honeycomb big!
And it's got a big